Sorry to interrupt this beautiful explanation of flowing of karma yoga into bhakti yoga and the vision of Krishna, which Robert was telling us, that Krishna is not only some remote divine, but also divine involved and can be more and more so. And you can find him in the nature. And now he will be starting, you will see in this second portion from 7th till chapter 12, 6 chapters, Bhakti Yoga, he will be giving us a sense of his presence in nature. He will start immediately from chapter 7. You will see that he will talk in the same as Vibhuti Yoga in chapter 10. Vibhuti means the portion of the divine present in nature. It's not totally an avatar, it's a partial avatar. It's an element of the divine in nature, or in the human beings also. And we call them Vibhutis, those smaller avatars, upa avatars, Vibhutis. Many people claim to be Vibhutis of certain godheads and avatars, that they're incarnations of someone or Vibhuti of someone, and so on. In India, it's very popular to speak in this way. Avatars are totally conscious embodiment of the divine, yes, from the beginning. Or in some cases, as we have in Sri Aurobindo's case, it's not from the beginning. It is later, which is making it more precious for the work he came to do. But otherwise, avatars are aware of their divine origin from the beginning. The mother was so, I think. And Krishna was the same. He knew about his avatarhood from his childhood. Yeah. All these stories about small Krishna, naughty Krishna, is about his divine nature. All right. I will project. Thank you, Robert, for your nice overview. So, shall I start with mantra or leave mantra out for now? I will start with mantra. Om Mukam Karoti Vachalam Pangum Langhayate Girim Yat Kripatamaham Vande Paramananda Madhavam. Maybe today we also, again, we will try to create groups for discussions. What do you think? We completed.
Yeah, definitely. I want to be able to try this, Vladimir. So
great. It would be good because then people can really talk and can explain, express themselves, find some interesting views and thoughts of one another. We don't have the opportunity, we have very limited time always and a lot of text. So we finished a huge portion, which is called Karma Kanda or Karma Yoga. 6 chapters of the Gita. Now next 6 is Bhakti, and then next 6 will be Jnana Yoga. So these 3 huge sections. Notice Karma, Bhakti, and Jnana. So Jnana is heaven, Bhakti is torso, heart, and Karma is the body, the foundation, the physical foundation, the willpower in the manifestation, the action. And here we have these 3 major components of our nature, Sri Aurobindo says, will, heart, and mind. And unfortunately, in our nature, they are all divided. They are never going together. That's why how we are kind of disconnected from ourselves. Our parts, our heart and mind are never going together. The same as our will is not listening to our heart and not following our mind. And this is the problem of our existence. All problems are the problems of harmony. I was thinking about this simple statement which creates so many ideas, so profound visions. In every context, it is true. And this is one of those contexts. We are in disharmony. Our mind, heart, and will are not going together. So they are not harmonized. Yeah, we spoke about this already. Our word and mind are even not going together. What to say about our heart and mind and word and will? So how to bring them together? This is the Purna Yoga or Yoga of Sri Aurobindo also and Sri Krishna. And that's why most probably they came together on 24th of November to do this work, to harmonize these three elements of our physical, vital, and mental nature. Sri Aurobindo says that very beautifully describes these discrepancies between mental man, man of knowledge, and man of love. And he says they usually disagree constantly. They don't understand each other. Man of love and man of knowledge. This is weird, yeah. It's so true. We immediately recognize all our problems, even with ourselves. So there is a man of love, a man of heart, who, as he describes, the heart can love things which are not totally necessarily perfect. It's not totally yet the divine. Love knows that there must be the divine there, and that's why by loving you can come to it, so to say. You can discover it. Disregarding the imperfections. The knowledge, unfortunately, the man of knowledge is not like that. He is more insisting on the perfection. He is a perfectionist in some way. And so between these two, there is a constant opposition or battle going on.
But ultimately, the man of knowledge, if he's into the higher ranges of the mind and the knowledge, can find the synthesis of all knowledge between the different individuals and nations and humanity. So it just depends on what level of plane that you're working on through the mind.
Right. It depends on that, yeah. But how Sri Aurobindo explains the difficulties of our human psychology is usually when you take any scientist, you can see how they are rigorous with their own way of looking at things. And the man of love is very approximate with things because he doesn't care about that, rigorous nature of the event or something. He is more looking for the truth in things, which is not there, not visible to his mind, but he already senses it in his heart. Something very simple in a way, which is happening. And Sri Aurobindo describes these the 3 steps of Purna Yoga in this way, that everything starts with Karma Yoga, with effort to discover oneself. And then that smoke of that fire is rising to heaven, and heaven is the self-realization or knowledge. So heaven and earth are connected, and then there is a response from heaven down to this call from below to the heart, and it manifests the heart, the love towards the divine. So that love manifested within the heart is the response to knowledge. In a way, you are right. Knowledge must be there before real love could be revealed. And one can even argue how come that some people, knowing nothing, they feel so much love in the heart. We already spoke about this, I guess, but I think it is because they already have that some way an experience of the divine in the deeper consciousness, and that's why they feel the possibility to love, and they love without totally knowing it in the mind. So they are not, on the surface, they are not aware of it, but in the deeper consciousness, they had that experience, and that's why they can love. Love can be only when you know whom you can love. You cannot love someone abstract. Yeah? You have to have some sense, some experience of that presence to love it. So in a way, it's quite beautifully complex, this nature. So that love in the heart is the center. But look at how it is built in the Gita. First portion is Karma Yoga, second portion is Bhakti Yoga, not Jnana Yoga. And the third is Jnana. It's like as if he is looking at us in these spatial terms. First body, then heart, then mind, like 1, 2, 3. So as if they are looking not in the dynamic sense, because Sri Aurobindo says first step is Karma Yoga, second step is Jnana Yoga. So why the section of Jnana Yoga is at the end, not the second part? Yeah? And that is quite interesting. They are looking at us in the holistic way. All the portions are divine portions, but they have a specific nature, so they have to be described in that way. So now we are coming to the most central part of the Gita, much more central than Jnana Yoga, which will follow. That's what I want to say. It's more essential. It implies Jnana Yoga already. Does it make sense? Or not totally? A little bit. This was my discovery. I'm just sharing my discovery of the Gita. Then when I understood that Bhakti Yoga must be in the middle, which holds heaven and earth together, which holds the will and the mind together.
But interestingly, right, we can, depending on our inclination, right, our nature, we can enter in any one of these three and from there reach the other two. So if you're more of a heart and devotion and able to see the divine in others and in everything, then it's bhakti. And through bhakti, you'll become self-realized. And at the same time, in that self-realization, you'll use all your activities and your actions for the divine. So they all kind of doesn't matter to, I mean, to me, it's offering three different entry points, all of which lead to the same kind of merges at the end of the day.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, and still hierarchy is there. 1, 2, 3, 3 steps. maybe they are not so essential for the how it happens in life, but they are essential for understanding of that the will is needed to realize oneself, and realization leads to the love for the divine. Yes, just simple logic. It's nothing complicated. Just as simple as
it's nice to know I'm not schizophrenic. So
you already love the divine. Yes,
well, there's the love, I mean, and this love comes, and then the ego says, well, I didn't make that up. Where did that come from? And then the ego proceeds to fight it, to just resist it and to want to bargain with it and argue with it. And then the love just keeps coming back and says, I'm the winner here. We can do this the easy way or the hard way, kind of say. I mean, it's nice to hear this being put into language, but
yeah.
And I guess we love our battle stories, don't we? They seem to be the eternal story. But it's nice to know love wins. Thank you.
Right. I kind of all my life I'm discussing this issue about what is first, what is next, and what is the last. And always I have this argument that, but you can enter through any one of them and come to the rest. And yes, it is so, must be so. Maybe it will take a longer time Maybe it is not leading you immediately to the holistic realization. Maybe the Gita gives it this order because of certain holistic view on our development. Sri Aurobindo at least does it. Yeah? There must be certain discipline, certain action of will, certain wish. If I don't want, I can't realize it. So this karma yoga is the must. Yeah? It has to be first. And then if, what do I want? I want the divine. Then there must be some glimpse or support of the divine to feel love in the heart. Yeah? As simple as that. It's not so complicated. It's very logical in a way.
If you think of love as a power, as a force, then I think we can see it as an essential component because it can kind of give the energy to Jnana yoga or karma yoga through offering, through devotion, through that sense of connection. And of course, they all three approaches intertwine and interact. They ultimately are all included. There's no way to leave any one of them out.
Yeah, and I was going to say, just Bill, to your point about the ego on the bhakti, on the devotional side, that ego, if you're jnana yoga, that ego is going to doubt, right? It's like, that can't be true. The mind doubts, it questions, it doesn't have kind of a faith. And if you're karma yoga, it's going to be, well, that was my will. That wasn't the divine will. That was I did it. So this ego on every single level is trying to throw up hurdles and challenges and prevent from progress, which is really, really tricky on all three levels. So I totally agree with you that ego can always try to get in the way.
What do you think if we separate in groups to create few groups and discuss these issues? Would you like to do that? This kind of yukta, composed man of where will, heart, and mind go together, and when they don't go together, what it means. Well, we know what it means. We experience it every day. But how it could be if they would go together? Would you like? Is it time, or we can still ponder a bit? Yeah, shall we?
We can try it.
Okay.
You'll have to give me host so that I can do my magic division.
Sure.
Is everybody up for that? Just have some general discussion? Yeah, Bill's clapping.
Yes.
Right. Okay.
Aha. Okay, so give me a second to see how this is done. Manually create and add a room. Whoops, room 1. So assign. Okay, room 1 is going to be Robert and Martha and Karuna. How about that? There we go. Okay, room 2, we'll put Teresa and Charles, and we'll put Bill. Add a room. We'll put room 3, Jayashri and Vladimir. And last, we have Siegfried and Sangeet. Okay, so how long, Vladimir?
10 minutes. Or 15, I do not know.
Okay, I'll check in about 10 or 12 with a couple groups and see.
Right.
Okay, so let's see. I'm going to go ahead and open.
Jayashri.
Hello,
Namaste.
Maharaj. Nice to see you.
Nice to see you.
Yes, really look forward to the Gita study evenings. They're so inspiring.
Yeah, Gita is beautiful. The whole Indian tradition is kept in the charms of Krishna and especially Gita, which is so bewildering in the battlefield, teaching about the yoga.
Yeah. Yeah. And you know, there are so many interpretations that one has read that, but coming to Sri Aurobindo, it seems like he's really put it together.
Mm-hmm.
You know, everywhere else they deal with it separately. There's not a synthesis, you know, like the way Sri Aurobindo pulls it all together, you know, and shows, like you were just explaining, that it is a process that you have to go through these, you know, the physical, the vital, the mental, and each is an entry point. But in other interpretations that I read in the past, they tend to keep it very separate, and you know, it confuses you more. But so my question is, this Essays on the Gita, this book, which chapter are you reading from? Are you reading from any chapter here?
Right. It is after the chapter on the Nirvana. I will tell you some. It's well, these are the commentaries from this book. Yes, it will be in the chapter after chapter 6 will be chapter 7. The two natures. We start there from here.
Okay. I was looking at where to read from. You know, one has read cursorily, but one needs to go deeper into it. So
Yeah, it requires dwelling and reading. It has to be, something has to ask for it, aspire for it, even anticipate the beauty of it or something. Love it before you start reading.
Yes. So I was wondering, you said that in the physical, it's the will. In the karma yoga, it's the will, right? That one has to cultivate, develop, and work with.
Right.
Why is it the will?
It's interesting, yes. We see will a bit different. We see it as a mental creation. Mental will, that's how we understand it. Free will is mental will. But if we come to the embodied state, only in the embodied state we have free will. This is something interesting. That's, but it is associated like this with the will from the physical. I mean, from the foundation, physical foundation of Earth. Then there is a space in between heaven and earth. This is the vital world, the heart, the bhakti, love, emotion, devotion, and then finally the heaven, the mind. So it's a kind of projection from the mythology onto it. But otherwise,
sorry.
No.
So when you say the will in the embodied state, I'm just trying to understand this. Could it also mean the aspiration that we express?
Aspiration in nature.
Yes, the aspiration that comes up through our prayer from inside, you know?
Yeah, there are three fires. One is coming from the heart. It is this bhakti devotion. But the fire which rises from the nature, in the Veda, fire has 2 or 3 even different kind of places. And the first one, the major fire, is that heat which is rising in nature, pushing all nature forward to develop, to seek the divine, to become the divine. This is the reason and the reason of evolution, the engine of evolution, of which, of this universal fire, when it is individualized into the spark and become more and more individualized form, it becomes that psychic being in us, in our heart. This is another station of the fire. And then when it rises to heaven and totally revealed like the sun, it becomes the supramental knowledge fire. So there's 3 fires in a way. And one of which is that will from nature. Yes, right.
Thank you. That explains it. I always used to wonder, why is this will? And, Sri Aurobindo calls it the agni.
Mm.
He refers to it as the fire. And I was like, how is it the fire? I was not being able to understand it. But now, thank you.
Yeah, and
That
he
makes
explains this that in the secret of the Veda, that in the Veda the fire is never looked upon as individual flame, as psychic flame. Yeah. It is viewed as this universal flame or power of Rudra, which is
Mhm.
pushing everything forward. Yeah, unknowingly, nobody knows why suddenly somebody wants to be something better than he was. Yeah?
Yes, yes.
But because of that fire involved, because of the divinity within nature, and that is kind of interesting.
So then
Karma.
this is the will that in the vital, it becomes the, what you were saying is the love, the bhakti.
Yeah. In the vital, deeper than in the vital, because even this fire in the nature is actually deeper than nature. It is the divinity within nature. Yeah.
Mhm. Mhm.
So in the vital, it would be the psychic flame.
Exactly.
In the mental, it will be the supramental sun.
Mhm.
They speak about this in the Vedic tradition or in Brahmanic tradition constantly. They speak about three fires, yeah? Agni, Vayu, and Surya. And unity of these three fires, the union of three fires, is actually the end of the sacrifice, yajna. So yajna is being realized through union of Agni, Vayu, and Surya. These three divinities within us, the will divinity, the love divinity, and the knowledge divinity. They have to come together.
Yes, that makes it very clear
Mm,
that the will, the knowledge, and the love have to come together.
right.
Yes. Mhm. Thank you.
Hi, intruder.
You know, can you hear me okay?
Yes.
I was so anxious to try this breakout that I don't know if people were clear on the question. Do you think were you guys clear on the question?
Yeah.
What was to be discussed?
We have
Okay.
our own questions. Yeah.
Yes.
Well, you had posed a question to them and we didn't really repeat it. And then I just jumped right into it. So I want to make sure you didn't want me to do any clarification on the chat, Vladimir. That's all.
What is the question?
Yeah, I don't know. Vladimir,
The
what is the
question was
question?
about our triple nature and how we envision this unity, this to become yogi, to become yukta, to be composed.
Yeah,
Where
that was never said. That was never communicated.
no, it wasn't.
Well, it would no, not. But I think I didn't give you a chance to really clarify. So we're learning. Hi, Jai. Sure. Yeah. I'm gonna
Hi.
I'm gonna bow back out though. I just wanted to know if you wanted me to post a short question in there to make sure everybody's on board, and how much longer you'd like to go.
Right. You just 15 minutes maximum is good. And if they didn't have questions, that's useless, even 15 minutes now.
I know, that's what I'm wondering.
So maybe we just close after 10 and
Okay.
share our whatever we discussed on the
Okay.
Gita.
So to go out, I just close out of the meeting room, right?
Right. And
Okay,
it will,
if I don't make it, I'll see. Everybody will be stuck in their private room. Okay, sorry to
No,
invade.
it was
well,
good to see you.
so we are joining the bigger party slowly.
Yes. So it becomes clearer, a little bit clearer, definitely, why Bhakti Yoga
Hmm.
has its
Holding.
own.
Yeah, holding both, yes. It's something which is holding heaven and earth. It is that central, quintessential divinity is revealed here in the individual form. Yeah. So to say, it would never be possible for manifestation to come into being if that spark, that psychic, which represents the supreme in the individual form, would not be the purpose. The purpose is there of all this trouble.
Exactly.
Mhm.
Exactly. So it is like the nucleus.
Uh-huh.
It's like the absolute nucleus, the seed. The love is the seed
Right.
through
And
which it flowers.
right. And Sri Krishna says that I am Adhiyajna, who is in the heart of every man, you know. So behind the heart, in the depths of this spark, there is the supreme divine.
Mm.
In the very core of our soul, there is Purushottama, the supreme.
Yeah.
This is kind of knowledge which he wanted to bring. That's what he brings in this second portion of Bhakti Yoga. He will speak about this.
Mhm. Really looking forward to that.
Right.
As
And
a
that is
friend.
central knowledge, definitely, for all of
Mm.
us. Or we have to leave the room. Okay.
Yes. Thank you so much.
Yes, yes. You're welcome
Bye.
always. Mm. Leave meeting, leave break. We left the room only now because we didn't see that leave the room was there. People don't see in the corner that there is some button. They can click leave the meeting, unfortunately, may leave the meeting altogether or
Yeah.
leave the room.
Well, I broadcasted 3 minutes. So I was waiting to close the rooms after 3 minutes.
Oh, all right, okay. So it will take 1 minute for them to get there out.
Okay.
Yeah,
I just clicked it.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, only now you clicked. Okay, good.
Well, I was waiting for 3 minutes. So,
Okay.
but when you said it takes a minute, then 2 minutes.
4 minutes.
How are you doing, Jayashree? You're muted.
I'm good, Radhe. Thank you for
Oh,
asking.
good. So nice to see you back and have you involved in these things.
Yes. I'm really, really waiting to get back into everything.
Yeah.
Now.
Yeah, it's going to take some time.
Yes.
Yeah.
But, you know, it's like you've got your foot in the other part, but you want to get back here as fast as possible.
Sure. I'm going to, maybe what I'll do, Vladimir, I don't know. It probably doesn't matter. I'm going to make you host again just in case.
Doesn't matter for me. You can stay. Yes, nice to see you back. You managed to come back. That's great. Did you recognize the button which to press? You're smiling all. That means it was good.
Yeah, once I say close the room, after 60 seconds, everyone automatically comes back. They don't have to push the button.
Okay.
You guys just came back early.
Right. All right, you have an option to go early by yourself, leave the room, or you will just wait till you reappear here. Great. Now we know how to use this. So would you like to share some ideas of what is to be composed, what is to be united, where my heart, mind, and will are coming together in one being, harmonized? No? Some ideas in your discussions?
Back into breakouts for another 5 minutes.
What? Was this the question?
I was telling Vladimir, I went into his room and I said, I was so anxious to try this out and get you guys all in breakout rooms that I don't think we didn't really give you guys a clear question to pursue. So I apologize.
I can say it was great for me to see Charles and Teresa. And usually when I come into this class on Monday night, I'm kind of calm and my bhakti opens up almost immediately at mantra. And tonight I came in and this just not, but it was Charles and Teresa's composure tonight that being in dialogue with them just for a moment brought me back. And so
Lovely.
what is that? What is Sangha? Tonight it helped me. Thank you.
Wonderful. Maybe Charles and Teresa would also bring us back on the track. Or do you like to say a few words? Yeah, you have to unmute yourself. That. Mhm.
Well, what I shared with Bill was 40 years ago, I'm living in the Himalayas, and I started the path of Sattva, Sarala, and Prem. And I forget the Sanskrit name, but it's something like Sanhana Dharma, truth, simplicity, and love. And what I was taught was that there are three aspects of the human being that requires development for self-realization, and that's the mind, the heart, and the will.
Mm.
And that that path of Sattva, Sarala, and Prem is the one that is the understanding that the absolute is truth, and the creation is created as truth. So truth is supreme. And when we are truthful with ourselves and others at all times, and that develops our mind, and love develops our heart, and then the heart and the mind is actualized through the willpower, and that the willpower is developed by choosing simplicity, because we live in a complex world. And so then choosing simplicity at every choice point develops that which is known as the willpower. And that allows us to unite the mind and the heart into karma yoga actualized.
So nice, so beautiful. So the love develops the heart. The oneness of the whole develops knowledge. So beautiful, yes. And the simplicity develops the will.
Yeah.
Lovely.
But for me, the master stroke in there was the simplicity, because we live in a complex world, that every choice point is that choose simplicity. And it's always, in my life, it's always been the superior choice. When I look at everything as equal, and this is the simplest way, I'm going to choose that. Well, thank you. It's a great, we really liked the breakout session, and so I like this format. And it's really good to be back. Like I said, we've been very busy. The only reason, everyone, why we haven't been with you. So thank you.
Yeah, nice to see you back. Yes, we missed you. So lovely to see you back. So you are settled already in your home, a new home, and more or less.
No, we're not. But it needed work, and so we're still working to get ready for the winter.
Mm. Great. Somebody else wants to share some thoughts, discussions which took place. Yeah. Please volunteer.
Can I say something?
Yes, please.
So it was very nice for me to understand how will translates into, karma yoga through the physical, and the role of the fire in the heart, which is the love, which is the psychic, which is the Purushottama sitting in the, and the mind, the Jnana, and the mental, how the three come together. I understood it separately because I always had some kind of a confusion regarding the will. I always thought the will was a mental instrument, and to see it and to understand that it is part of the physical, the karma yoga part of it. That was clearer, because it's the fire that moves the evolution ahead. It's the fire in nature. And I think, thank you to Vladimir, he really explained it very well to me. That was my area of doubt. But to understand that the Purushottama are the three fires, basically. The three fires in the three separate, in the physical, the vital, and the mental, and how they come together and unite in the heart to form the core of Bhakti Yoga. So that was beautiful. Thank you.
Thank you. Beautiful. Anyone else? It's a sharing session. We are closing Karma Yoga, so we have to have a sense of holistic vision to move forward to the Bhakti Yoga, to get most of it. Yeah, please volunteer. Otherwise, I will start asking. Jump in. We are all at home. It's a bigger composition. No, if there is nothing else to say, then it's fine. Maybe some thoughts do not come.
I mean, it's for me, I have been, very dedicated and disciplined with some areas of this yoga, and then very resistant on others. I mean, I will sit and meditate and chant, and I love ceremony. I love the bhakti, but getting me to be disciplined about my diet, my body, and all of these other things, I you have to drag me in screaming sometimes, or to really do self-inquiry. And but at the end of the day, I think, yes, I'm finding it's all necessary. And I see reflections in all of you of different aspects of this. And I do appreciate that, I really honor I respect everybody's, that everybody has their own particular strength in this whole practice. So I don't know if I just said anything, Vladimir.
Yeah, you did. You did. Thank you. Thank you. Siegfried maybe is looking away somehow. He can look also into our direction. Some thoughts, some doubts maybe.
Yes, about the karma yoga. For me, it was all this period. We was in this kind of immersion. It was very clarifying for me, because I didn't know before what is karma yoga. I thought is this kind of attitude when you are in a space, you have to do something, but only in the practical way. But now I think I can use this dimension to develop myself and help to the others to understand their own behavior. And it's very curious how this kind of use of our body could be so automatic. And for me, one of the keys in this understanding of karma yoga is to observe what my body can learn and do automatically. And how can I be so freedom about what my body can do in this kind of way, automatic way. And how you can develop this instrument with the habits, with the steps, to train your body to do this and that. Then when the body have that memories, how you can be free of the action. I think this is why you can be so generous, because you don't have to looking for the fruits of your actions, because the actions are automatically in itself.
They're in time. So in time, the certain dynamism of the body has to be kind of captured by the spirit. So, and that repetition, that mechanism of you're saying mechanical, the body holds their consciousness basically to a certain degree. It stiffens it into a certain formation and allows next development. It creates the step towards next progression and next. So every time it becomes a kind of a resistance from on one side, and also the foundation for the next development. Otherwise, there would be no development. It's because of the body and the body's efforts. And that will, when we speak about will, we speak about the divine, as Jayashri was saying, the divine flame within the nature. Something in the nature pushes everything forward, the heat. And this is the will to be, the will to become better and better, to grow in consciousness. We do not know why we are seeking, why we are meeting here in this, even. There's something in us which is pushing us, in spite of us, whatever we may think, whatever we may want to do, there is something which will be pushing in spite of us. And that is the will. And if we join it with our free will, it becomes very effective. Yeah, yes.
Yes, the will come.
The welcome. Welcome.
Joking, I'm joking.
Good.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, some other ideas? Martha, Robert, Karuna, Premananda, there must be some idea. Yeah, you are muted. Please unmute yourself because we are both muted. No, you have to click the button in the corner in case you want to say something.
I think I already spoke, but I will add that for karma yoga, it's so important for the love to be there, the bhakti element, because it's only through that, or through the interaction of the karma yoga and the bhakti yoga, that the offering becomes really rich and powerful. And we're going to hear even more about offering as time goes on, I believe.
Mm-hmm. Right. I guess there is never pure karma yoga in this sense. Mother describes karma yoga in her way. She says to take any activity and do it is yoga, as the means for self-realization. So everything is to be done for this, for the discovery of the divine. That's the karma yoga. Simple definition, but very powerful. So whatever I do it to discover the truth of the being, of myself. And that is leading me to this love, this gratitude that the divine is. That something, as Mother says, something in this world is there as the divine, It is such a great relief. We are not alone. It's not only mechanical. There is some presence, truth in it, which can be always contacted. For any moment you can have a contact with it and feel its presence. That is bhakti. Unconditional love. Gratitude is bhakti, actually. You're grateful for that the divine is. You're not grateful for what it did to you. Of course, you are grateful for all this world, for all this richness of colors, of varieties of beings, of different opinions. You become in love with everyone and everything if you see the divine presence. Yeah.
You know, I think the other thing with, because karma yoga is a little perplexing, depending on how you look at it. But, you know, the thing I've always thought too is that for me, karma yoga is realizing that you're not the doer, right? That you're simply an instrument of the divine and surrendering, right? Surrendering to that divine. So I see also surrender as an important part of karma yoga, and surrendering maybe not to this will that's in nature, but a higher divine will, which can propel things for. If you surrender, then it really helps to move things evolution faster than what nature can do. But I always thought and consider this as a surrender, and you're not the doer, you're just the instrument, and allowing the divine to do whatever it may want to do with your instrument. So,
Nice.
but a lot of different angles tonight, which is interesting. And it's a little of all of them, right?
Yeah, absolutely. It's just another view, another kind of focus or another perspective on. So if you look at this, that you are not the doer is the highest realization of karma yoga, which is already reaching to self-realization, where you realize that you are unborn self, that the divine is. So this is the highest realization. You are not a doer. Nature is doing, but behind there is a witness who is witnessing everything what is happening. But before you come to it, you will have to have few steps, and the first one is to disengage from the fruit of action, so to say, to become free from this attachment to the result, this egoistic attachment to the result of action. And this is karma yoga proper. Yeah, there is no bhakti there. There is a kind of a technology in consciousness which you will have to do. You will have to step back from this interest to get somewhere, and it's not easy. It has its purpose. It's a technology, technique, which if we practice, we could feel that in the world there is some presence which is vaster than we are, vaster than this small sense of what I want. Yeah? So it leads through this simple device, disengagement from the desire of fruit of action. Buddhists are doing it also. Yes, Siegfried.
Yes, I like this concept of you are not the doer, like Ramakrishna, no? I think, or Rama Maharashi, he said one time, no? But I think to achieve this perspective of where you can say I'm not the doer is when you can smelt, I think, fusion with the nature. When you can experience there is no fragmentation between this body, the atmosphere, the earth, the plants, the flowers. If you can experience there is no boundaries with this body and the rest of the nature, then you can accept you are not the doer. But if you experience your individuality, you are doing things. Yes, of course, you are doing.
You
like
may
a process. Yeah.
I think you may have the sense of your individuality, but motivation would be different, so to say. It doesn't come from individual ego sense. So you can stay in the individual form still and feel that everything what is done through you, done by other force, yes, and you could start noticing it, that truly speaking, whatever you desired, wished, thought is actually offered to you by nature, and you chose from it by nature's choice, thinking that you chose. This is the ego trick. Yeah? Ego tells you that you chose, but actually the choices were given to you by nature already. And that is kind of
Stimulus reaction, no? You say it's this kind of a stimulus reaction process, isn't it? That's what you want to say?
yeah, if it touches you, you respond. So when you think that you responded because you wanted, no, because it was already there to respond. Yeah? And something in you naturally responded to it, and then you describe it as your own will. It's really weird how we perceive ourselves. Until we are free from it. And once we are free, we see this process. Once we see this process, we are really free. But before, we just only know about it mentally. Yeah? We are not free yet.
But when we are talking about that, we are in the realm of the physical, isn't it? If we become to have this kind of witness, we are not talking about this level of karma yoga. We are in a maybe in
Jnana yoga, absolutely.
Okay.
We are reaching the self-realization, the highest, and then there is in between this answering, as Sri Aurobindo says, of the realization of the divine, which appears as love towards the divine in the heart immediately, because you know the divine is. Knowing that the divine is the greatest love. It is how Mother beautifully describes this in the gratitude. Knowing that the divine is, that is the gratitude, not anything else. So you know it already. You already jnanin. You already know. Well, it's not that you don't know and love the divine. It would be some fanatic love or religious love, I don't know. Some vital love going and, doing some things in front of the altar without really loving, exaggerating the vital being. Many people do this, they excite their vital being with some kind of, and then they think that is the love. But it is not. It is just a vital expression.
Some thoughts are coming. I want to share with you. I think this kind of love is the how do you say, the interconnection between this physical and this mental realm.
Absolutely.
No possibility is a dissociation between them. Then love is what you use for make the cookie. When
yes.
you have two ingredients like water and oil, never can be one thing, but if you use the other ingredient, then you can make the mass and to prepare a nice cookie.
Yeah.
Cake, sorry, cake. Nice cake. Yes, but now there is another thought is coming. And what about the sociopathic, the antisocial problem of it's a pathology. You understand what is?
No, I don't know what it is.
It's more note.
Sociopaths. Yes, I know. Yeah.
Sociopath. What about this kind of people?
Well,
these people are normally in they are CEOs. They are the president of the states. They are the leaders of this business world. They are the directors of the orchestra, which we are dancing nowadays, actually.
Yeah.
And what about them? Because they don't have this kind of ingredient.
Well, they
action in the mind. What about them?
They have, but they kind of exaggerated the position of ego, and it became, aggrandized, so to say. It was extended to the in universal terms. They think they could be that, and that is the big ego which will pop up one day, definitely. But still, they follow that vital force within, which is kind of feeding that ego. The huge vital force of money, of position, of power. These are the forces which are feeding this surface and making it believe that that is the truth, yeah? Because the force is there. So, but look, what thoughts I got from your description is interesting. I got new interesting thoughts of, oh my God, I lost it. It was waiting, but it will come. It's really an interesting about physical reality. Yes, physical is power, will. Light of knowledge is consciousness, yeah? Consciousness of unborn self, of the divine. Power and consciousness got separated and got united in love. Yeah? So they are that chit tapas in the supreme, highest transcendental sense, generate ananda, which is love. Yeah? Love is the union of these two. And here in this separated world, this love is the only way to reconcile between these two. And we know a beautiful description of Sri Aurobindo on liberty, equality, and fraternity. Yeah? These are the three powers. Liberty is the free will of the individual. Equality is the knowledge of everything is the divine. Everybody has equal rights. And the fraternity is that love from the heart, which alone can reconcile between these two opposites. Opposites in this manifestation, but they are not opposites in the transcendental. They are the parents of this heart, of this love, of this bliss.
Great. Yeah, thank you.
Something just came to me, and I don't know why I want to share it other than that. I was thinking about it today. When my heart opened up and I was initiated, I was doing an internship in Washington, D.C. And I went from this very limited focused thing, and this heart opening happened. And I literally began to see all of the deity archetypes in these different buildings. The Department of Agriculture and the Department of Energy and Department of Justice, and that the egos and the individuals all went away, and they became these just shimmering, beautiful manifestations of these deity energies. And it was, boy, I don't know where I'm going with that. That's a point of bhakti, I guess. But, you know, anyways, I wish I could see that sometimes these days.
You don't stop yourself so easily. You just flow with it. Once the thought came, you allow it to flow. Yeah, you're stopping because you want to. Well, I got your thought. It's beautiful. Yeah, I can see that. Yes, archetypes which are distorted by ego, by misunderstanding, by surface consciousness, by other forces, which are here inbuilt in the reality. And all these professions and all these activities, environments are created from somewhere, yes, from the divine world, from the divine forces. We are all representatives of these forces. And when we speak that the nature is doing work, when Krishna says in the Gita, he doesn't mean that the lower only nature does its work. He means all nature, higher also. Higher nature also does its work through us. The gods, Parav, also Prakriti, this is the transcendental Prakriti is involved. She is doing the work. This is something to think of. And how you see it, in that moment of revelation, you saw something of the higher, something of the more luminous part of it. And that was beautiful.
Yeah, it was a beautiful moment. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for sharing. And Karuna Premananda ji, would you like to say a word? Just click on mute.
No, I think that Martha and Robert, we came to the understanding or the conclusion that we probably have had anyway, that the heart is really where everything comes together. You can have the mind and the body, and you can be directed in one area or another, but without the firm conviction that what should be done isn't, if it's not coming from the heart, then I think we're left kind of wandering and wondering. But if you have it really a strong feeling in your heart that this is the thing to do, then there's no more question. And you know the direction you need to go. You know what needs to be done.
Yeah.
There's no conflict anymore. So that's what we were thinking of.
Thank you. Thank you. Beautiful. And if you look at our body, the heart is exactly in the here. I'm not putting here because it's physical.
Right.
Here is in the center of our being. There is the central core of the whole being, the quintessential core.
Exactly. Yes.
So in physiology, even in nature, built it in such a way to show us where to go, and we are still doing something else.
Yes. Yes.
We are going below into the lower centers, looking for happiness, but it's here in the heart.
Right. Absolutely.
Right. Thank you for sharing. That's beautiful. Thank you all. It was wonderful. If somebody wants to say something conclusive, please, and we close down because we're already 12 minutes over our time. Next time we will do it better, sharing. So we will have a more clear kind of question if it was not clear this time. But with this, we will conclude then Karma Yoga section and we'll move forward to Bhakti Yoga, to love, to the feelings, emotions, and adoration of the divine within the heart. Okay, I will close with mantra. Om Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinaha Sarve Santu Niramaya Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu Ma Kaschit Dukkha Bhag Bhavet. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om. Hari Om. See you.
Namaste.
Namaste.